Welcome to day one of Foundations for an Extraordinary Life. And week one is all about language, starting from our inner world to the way we speak and present ourselves in public. And the reason we start with language is because our mind responds to two things: the thoughts we think and the words we speak, and the pictures or the visualizations we make in our mind. So week one is all about language, starting with our innermost thoughts, expanding to how we speak out loud. And week two is all about visualization, that image, that picture, that visual that we create in our mind. And you might think, well, why don't we start with what we're speaking out loud? Well, you can say things out loud, but you have an inner narrative as well, inner beliefs, an inner monologue, if you will. And if you start saying, speaking in a way that implies that you're confident or successful or whatever, but you have an inner belief, an inner voice that says, oh, you could never have that. Who do you think you are? You don't deserve that. Then you won't be able to keep that up very long. And whenever anything negative comes along, it'll feel true because it aligns with your inner narrative. And if you can, when you change that inner narrative to be positive, say, you're amazing, you've got this, you can do anything, then it won't matter if something comes along because you won't let that in. Because you're like, no, I've got this. And then it'll be easier for you to speak. So we start with our innermost language, the voice of our inner thoughts. And the first thing, one of our priorities today, is to observe that voice. So I want you just now to do this, and don't be that person that sits and listens and doesn't do. I've said before, the doing is really going to lead you to the understanding that's going to help you. So right now, I want you to say your name in your head. Again, say your name in your head out loud. You can hear it. You can hear it, can't you? Say it one more time. Say your name in your head. Now, you can take command of this voice and speak, but you're also the observer. You're also speaking and listening. And here's the thing. You're always listening, but you're not always the one speaking, because that voice sometimes has a mind of its own. And you might say, well, whose mind is that? Well, it's yours. But it's the deeper part of your mind that controls all the functions in your body that you're not consciously aware of. You can only place your conscious attention on one thing at a time, and the rest of everything you're doing is handled by the deeper part of your mind. You'd say your subconscious, but really just want to keep it simple and say your mind. And so I'll show you what I mean by this. So I'm going to do a demonstration with me. Again, don't be that person that just sits there and watches. Actually do it with me, because it's going to help you understand so much. So I'm going to start with the name again. So I want you to say your name in your head. Say your name in your head again. Now yell your name in your head. Now take a deep breath and let it go. Take another deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Now I want you to blink, counting up in succession. So blink once, blink twice, blink 3 times, blink 4 times, blink 5 times. Now, what happened to your breathing while you were blinking? You're still breathing, but you're not breathing. Your body's taken over, your mind has taken over. Now what's happened to your blinking? You're still blinking, but you're not actively blinking. Your mind is just doing it for you. Now what's happened to that voice in your head, your thoughts? They're still going, even if you're not the one thinking them. And that's the whole point, is that just like your hand, just like your breath, just like your eyelids, you can take over that inner voice and say, I'm thinking these thoughts. You can choose what you think, but when you're not consciously choosing, you still have thoughts that are running. And that's the voice we want to change. It's not enough to just take control of it consciously and say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm confident. It's to understand that narrative that's running on its own and change that. That's our very first task on this journey, is to understand that voice. And so for today, You don't have, today is just step one. You don't have to change anything dramatic. Today is all about observing. And so your job for today is just to listen to that voice. Listen, you may already know. You may say, oh yeah, I know I say this to myself. But there may be things that you don't even realize you're saying to yourself. Even I, who's done so much of this work, will come back and make it a priority to listen for a few days. And I'm amazed to hear some of the things that either creep back in or new things that I didn't even realize had gotten in there. And so even if you've done this kind of work before, I want you to just decide, make this a priority today. And you don't have to do anything special. You just go through your day, but just really aware. What are those thoughts that I'm thinking? What are the ones that I chose to think? And what are the ones that just came up? You know, maybe you stub your toe and your mind goes, oh, you're such an idiot. Maybe you get splashed by a car and you think, oh God, things like this always happen to me. Maybe you're spending money on something and your mind's like, oh, you better be careful, you better be careful. You can't afford that, you're gonna run out. And understanding all of that that's going on in the background is a huge thing that's gonna help us change. So today is very simple. This is your starting place. It's all about observing. So I want you to take whatever you've decided on, your notebook, your diary, your notes app in your phone. I obviously recommend digital because then it's always with you. And I want you to take a few minutes now and just write down some of the things. We're really interested in the negative things, but some of the things that you know that you say to yourself, you know that that voice says, maybe beliefs that you know that you have. And then as the day goes on, I want you to continue to add to it, because there's the things you know, but the things that you observe throughout the day are the things that are really going to surprise you. So keep that diary, keep that notebook, keep that list in your phone handy, and just quickly add to it throughout the day. When you hear yourself say things, maybe you get to work and you go, oh, I hate this, or something like that. Write that down. And the obvious ones are like, bad things happen to me, I can't do this, I don't deserve this, I'm not good enough. But there can be some more nuanced things as well. Like with money, you might be thinking, oh, you better be careful all the time. Well, that might seem like, well, I do need it, but here's the thing. What are you implying to your mind? Because if you're implying that you're going to run out, then that's an imprint, a blueprint that you're going to move towards. If you're saying, oh, I better be careful, I'm getting older, again, you're implying that you're going to become frail. And of course, there's a truth to us aging, but it's drastically exaggerated by so many people. Another is like, oh, I can never be happy, or other people are happy, but not me, or just like, oh, this is what my life is always like. Anything like that you think, that you catch yourself thinking, write down and add to that list. And tomorrow, that list is going to be really important because we're going to start framing that and interrupting it. But today is all about observing, so that's all I want you to do. And I don't want you to get lost in the negative of this. If you need to, if you find yourself getting down writing all those things, just say some positive things. I've got this. I've decided to heal. The very reason that I'm doing this is because I've chosen to change and I've chosen to feel great about it. And the most exciting thing is that you're actually now seeing what's wrong, what's there, what you can change, and before, you probably didn't even know. So that's great, because understanding is the first step, and you're already on your way. So have an amazing day. Get excited for this journey. This is just step one. But today, write down those thoughts, keep track of them, and tomorrow, bring that list, because we're going to start changing it. Bye for now.